We shall read and comment a little bit the work Sadhana by Rabindranath Tagore. Today is 9th of May. On the 7th is 156th anniversary of birth. And speaking with a lady from India, Meao, I promised to make a small video on these teachings. And so, I think Sadhana has in itself the cream of his wisdom, that he received already by his father, Rabindranath Tagore, so much friend of Rabindranath Roy, and also president of the Brahmo Samaj, a movement who has done a synthesis between Upanishads, Christianity and other religions. Rabindranath was a master in Sanskrit and also in Persia. He read many times Hafiz every day in the morning. And so already his grandfather was also a spiritual being, and so Rabindranath Tagore was also living in his lands with the people of the country, with the sadhus, with sannyasins, and so he got the two sides, the living one and the cultural one, and the living one by family and by friends. That is the most ideal. And so he has distilled in this book some of his reflections, and we shall enter on that. He has 8 chapters. The first is called The Relation of the Individual to the Universe, and it touches this great mystery. How is our relation to the universe? Are we an individual part, or we are just a name, a temporary separation, a maya of name and form that is created by our misconception or illusion in dividing what is one? As we know, in India there was always this great possibility of choosing to affirm in front of the dead and of the past and of the future that we are a spiritual being, an Atman separated, or as we call also as a Purusha, or we are just a manifestation of the one Atman, of the same Purusha that it speaks and manifests through each being. And so this chapter is most interesting. When Tagore, or Rabbi went to Greece, the ancient Greece, and he noted that there it was a civilization nurtured most in the city, within halls, and the Aryan invaders into India encountered a civilization on forest, and forest was their ambience. And so his vision developed by these Indian people and his ancestors, it was to enlarge, as he says, his consciousness by growing with and growing into his surroundings. He felt that truth is all-comprehending, and there is no such thing as absolute isolation and existence. And the only way of attaining truth is through the interpretation of our being into all objects. As a matter of fact, this question, how much we should be open and interpret into all objects, has surely in our days a different approach, as we should not interpret into all objects. If in living in the nature, in the forest, that was natural and much giving us the wisdom and the energies of all these beings and things around us, in modern society and in the technological way of living, we should avoid the too much dispersion, too much interpreting with other things or other beings who have not minimum of affinity to us, or it can even be destructive. So, in former times, and if you live in a natural ambience, then this ideal of realization of the harmony, as Rabbi says, to realize this great harmony between the human spirit and the spirit of the world, was the endeavor of the forest-dwelling sages or rishis of ancient India. So this spirit of world, we can call today also the unified field of energy and information and consciousness, and we can use also a term consecrated in former times in West tradition, the anima mundi, the soul of the world. Here, Rabindranath uses the spirit of the world. We can see it at the higher level as the divine, as the Paramatman, the Brahman. But how we can relate better our own spirit to that spirit means that we have to enter deep within to find our own spirit, and knowing who we are and feeling that spirit. From that spirit we began really to enter into interpenetration with others and seeing in them the same energy of life and conscious animating them, the spirit of the world. You could say also, in the Christian religion, as the Holy Spirit, or in the tradition of Islam as the Nur that we can find in the Sir, in the secret of the secrets of the art, we shall find the light of the divine. And so, Rabindranath Tagore takes us viewing the world as was developed in ancient India, in which the point of view was the union of the world and human being as a great truth. And so, inside the elements of the cosmos, inside of each being and thing, there is the same elements, and they have their own reason and harmonies, and the spiritual being. And now I speak with the words of Rabindranath. Likewise, the human being who has his spiritual eyes open knows that ultimate truth about art and water lies in our apprehension of the eternal will which works in time and takes shape in the forces we realize under those aspects. This is not mere knowledge as science it is, but is a perception of the soul by the soul. And so it does not lead us to power, as knowledge does, and science wants, but it gives us joy, which is the product of the union of kindred or affinity things, parental things. Most interesting, this understanding that joy is the result of the union of beings who are similar, who are friends, who are akin to each other. So, Rabindranath Tagore then it goes to say that the person who is satisfied with scientific view of the world only will never understand what is that being with spiritual vision finds in these natural phenomena. The water does not merely cleanse his limbs, but it purifies his heart, for it touches his soul. So beautiful, this vision of the purification of water, purification of our heart, our soul, and it touches and it purifies the soul. We find that in almost all religions. Remember, in Japan, Shinto, and Tagore was also in connection with Japan, as in Iran. And in Japan we have so much in Shinto tradition this idea of cleansing with waters, taking their baths in a full tap and exposing to cascades, call it Bizoji, and where people is really purified. So, but even ourselves, cleaning your hands or face or taking your bath, we must feel the mercy of the divine order of the universe, who has given us so beautiful energy there. And if we enter deeper with our spiritual vision, we can even see or feel the spirits of nature, of the fountains and of the oceans, that kind of Devadatta, small beings, small chains that we find also in all the other elements. And so Tagore he wants also to explain the art. The art does not merely hold his body, but it gladdens its mind. For his contact is more than a physical contact, it is a living presence. This idea of the art as a living presence was also developed in the ancient times, and even in our times more and more people worship Mother Nature or Gaia or the goddess or whatever name we give or have given in the former times. Like in Iran, it is an archangel of the art, the henna, and through our worship, our gratitude, our ecology, our agricultural, in a biological, organic way, we tend to feel that art is also animated being with millions of animated beings, and so we tend to enter more in the soul of the world that is passing through the planet and being animated and colored and with music and songs and sounds in each corner of the planet. To be in harmony of that, I think it was one of the main secrets of Rabindranath Tagore. He really lived in nature. He was playing music, he was reading his songs, he was also seeing and sometimes working or helping in the work on the fields, and he could understand and feel the sentiments, the energies, the beings who are there, and he was so much taken to the beauty of that he could pass through the tragedy of the dying of his wife when she had only 19 years of living with him and 29, and after of these two childs and one of his daughters, and all that was really so much, or maybe two daughters and one child. So much was distressing for him, but he could cross as understanding that the road and the path are the same, and we must tread and advance until it will come our own time to leave this planet, where probably we will meet these friend souls that we can even hear already, have maybe some connections to visions or dreams, or as he said, this living presence that he can feel. So Rabindranath Tagore was really a Mahatma, meaning being who had developed and extended his Atman to become one with the world soul, or one with the spirit world, with the great Atman. And so his teachings are designed to awaken in ourselves this strong love and aspiration to become more free from the ego and from the walls of individuality, and to open more to nature and to the spiritual and material worlds. In that aspect, Rabindranath Tagore was really adamantine, saying that the spirit is found in nature. We don't have to go out of nature. We should not renounce to nature. Everyone in his own life, in his own loves of family and work and heart and land, he can be doing that with a sense of his own spiritual soul, is relating to the spiritual soul of these friends and beings, and to the one spirit pervading all the universe. And in the nature, Rabindranath Tagore could find so much occasions to expand his awareness, his conscience, from the brain, from the mind, and expand it into the great realms. For example, if we go to read Straw Birds, so nice thoughts, poetical thoughts, we see many related to the clouds, and how with the clouds he expanded his soul, and he felt different moods, and he grew from his own place or house and window to the vast realm of the cosmos, and to the growing and union and changing of the clouds. So, how to realize this inner spirit and this union with the universal spirit is the great quest, the quest of the Holy Grail. We can say that this Holy Grail that we have also in India, especially in Iran, as Jam, or in Celtic tradition, this cup or chalice of Amrita, of the joy of love, is to be found when we are in harmony from our deepest beings to the soul of the world, and to the beings who are within us and around us. So, anyway, as this state does not come so easily, especially in modern times, we have to work for that. And here, and this book is called Sadhana, meaning we have to do a practice, a regular practice with some efforts to develop more our spiritual level of realization. He asks us, for example, to hail the morning sun, the flowing water, the fruitful earth, and then he recommends as a text of everyday meditation the Gayatri, a verse which is considered to be the epitome of all the Vedas. By its help, we try to realize the essential unity of the world with the conscious soul of man. We learn to perceive the unity held together by the one eternal spirit whose power creates or emanates, we can say, the earth, the sky and the stars, that sometimes irradiates our minds with light of a consciousness that moves and exists in unbroken continuity with the outer world. So we have here two important points. The Gayatri, Om Bhurvubhuva Swaha Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhyo Yo No Prachodayat, where he salutes the all levels from the physical art to subtle art to the spiritual art, and there we invoke that light of the divine, and we meditate on that, and we ask that it blesses us and inspires us and guides us. And he says that this eternal spirit irradiates our minds with the light of a consciousness that moves and exists in unbroken continuity with the outer world. As a matter of fact, at least in this first chapter, this is one of the most astounding and most interesting, and to be really considered and reflected and meditate. The eternal spirit irradiates our minds with the light of a consciousness that moves and exists in unbroken continuity with the outer world. So it seems to say that it is from the eternal spirit, either through our own spirit, either just by our minds, that we receive the light of a consciousness that moves and exists in unbroken continuity with the outer world. It's a very daring, very courageous affirmation, as he's saying that the light of a consciousness that exists and moves in unbroken continuity with the outer world. It's almost saying that when he speaks about Sat, Chit, Ananda, that this eternal true or eternal being that is Sat as a conscious or Chit that permeates and moves in all the cosmos. And in our mind, if you really meditate, you will begin to see that our conscious is a light, and that light, it can be open and expanded, and to realize that this small light at the beginning is a great light. I think we are touching here very deep mysteries of the meditation and of the sadhana, and Rabindranath Tagore has just given us in a nutshell in order that we develop our meditation in this light of a conscious, in this light of the conscious that is an unbroken continuity. So, to to meditate more on this conscious, how it is coming from the spirit, how is in contact with this unified field, or is part, or is in continuity, in always relative, in relation, being part of this same light, or as in the quantum physics today is spoken as the unified field of energy and consciousness that some more spiritual scientists began to tend to see also in a spiritual level. So, in this first chapter, Aurobindo, Ramakrishna, Tilak, Ramroy, all these masters were working to this same subject. And so he says that India has always tried to discover the power not of possession, but the power of union. And therefore, India chooses her places of pilgrimage. Wherever there was in nature some special grandeur or beauty, so that her mind could come out of this world of narrow necessities and realize its place in the infinite. This is really, in a certain way, a development of this phrase, the light of conscience unbroken continuous, in broken continuity, that give us into the infinite. So we should be more aware of our union and not possession, of the vast space that we can see around us and have communion on that, and in a certain way feel the infinite, the Ananta on it. And this Ananta, this union with a kind of thing, gives us joy. As now I am speaking to you that are listening to me, and in my heart and in my mind and soul, this aspiration to the light and to the truth is alive, is burning, and is having communion in this common way of touching each other. And you are really invoking this unity of the cosmos and of our capacity by our conscience to be in the unity. As Rabindranath says, to cultivate the sentiment of universal sentimental, universal sympathy for life. And so, Rabindranath says that the ones who were eating meat gave up taking animal food to cultivate the sentiment of universal sympathy for life, an event unique in the history of mankind. It's interesting, this point of view of valorization in India of choosing to be vegetarians